Hello, and welcome to another episode of SkyrimPlus. Today I'm featuring Fimbulvetr Retreat. Let's check out the map. Here we are at Fimbulvetr Valley. We're near Refugee's Rest, Trader's Post, Windhelm, and here we are at the entrance of our featured home, Fimbulvetr Valley. For our world space view, you can see Windhelm in the background. There's the Trader's Post, here's Refugee's Rest, and then as we turn up the path like we're going to leave the map, we find Fimbulvetr Valley. Let's drop down and check it out. And here we are in front of the entrance to Fimbulvetr Valley. We have some braziers on the outside for nighttime lighting and some horse stables. And now here's the cave entrance to enter Fimbulvetr Valley. And now we get a long walkway to the retreat through the valley. Along the mountainous path, we find several goats. He's probably finding some traction issues with all of the snow and the bumpy path. Their spatial awareness isn't the best. Excuse me, Billy, I'm trying to get around you. You'll also find a variety of snowberries and mountain flowers to beautify the path. And as we make this turn, we find the entrance to the retreat. I love that it includes the braziers for some nighttime lighting. And as you can see, the property's really attractive. You can see the home in the distance. But before we explore the inside, let's see what features we can find outside, like this rock formation, similar to Eleonora's that she used in front of Tundra Homestead. This structure is the entryway to a secret area we'll explore towards the end of the video. And if you like secret areas in your homes, you're going to love this place. Okay, now that we've seen this beautiful tree, we'll walk over here where we have a salmon rack with harvestable salmon, some fishing supplies, a pond with some fish swimming around, and my favorite feature of the outside, this beautiful waterfall. It's just cascading into that pond. Just past the waterfall, we find a grain mill that helps turn wheat into flour. And just past that is a small garden with cabbages, potatoes, and wheat. So no fertile soils, but you do have some useful ingredients planted. You can see some tree stumps in the yard, so this place would be great for a woodcutter roleplay. And as we cut across the yard, we find an animal pen. Inside of the pen, you have a cow and a few chickens. And back by the bales of hay, there are a few chicken nests with some harvestable chicken eggs. Those are useful for different recipes or crafting some potions. And here's a closer look at the home, Fimbulvetr Retreat. I haven't seen this particular model of home used in other modded homes very often. It sure has a unique look. You have a couple of braziers on either side of the front door to provide some nighttime lighting, and as we squeeze between the right brazier and the wall, we find a woodcutter's axe and a wood chopping block for your firewood needs. Maybe you can roleplay you've moved off the grid like Dexter Morgan. I believe he was a lumberjack for a while. On the left side of the home, we find a storage shed. You can open it right up. I'm not sure what you would store in here. Maybe you could use that bucket as a glorified outhouse. But regardless of how you choose to use the space, I'm glad the mod author included it. Now before we head inside, let's take one more view of the outside of the home. It sure does look like a winter wonderland. Fits in really well with the Windhelm theme. Now that we've seen the outside, let's head inside. And when we do, we enter into an armory. As you can see, we have mannequins, display cases, weapons plaques, and all of these candles make for a really nice ambiance. Here's a vase with some pretty flowers, and each of the rooms has one of these snowberry wreaths, so it kind of ties all of the rooms together into a common theme. And here's your living room. It has one of the largest fireplaces I've ever seen. I don't think anyone's going to be getting cold here. There's the door to the bedroom, but before we head there, I wanted to show you that you have a few bookcases and a nice cozy place to read by the fire. And now we're ready to head into the bedroom, where you have plenty of chests to store your things. You also have plenty of display cases to show off some of your favorite weapons. Here's another mannequin to display one of your favorite armor sets. You have some dressers, a shrine of Nocturnal that works. Here's a double bed for you and a follower or your spouse to share. And then over here, you've got a jewelry display. It has some really nice static clutter too. There's a mannequin, another display case, and there's one of those snowberry wreaths that I mentioned earlier. As we make our way around this fireplace, we find the kitchen. Much like a Lyran home, it has tons of named storage for individual items, so if it looks like it, it stores it. So you have several different named storage containers for apples, leeks, cheeses, sweet rolls, and more. You have a rack with harvestable ingredients above, an oven for your cooking needs, as well as a cooking pot. And as we turn the corner, here's your dining room table. Here are a couple more of those snowberry wreaths, a place to store your cups, and a wash basin to wash the blood of your fallen foes off of your hands before you eat. It's just sanitary. Behind the divider, you have an office space with several maps, lockboxes, and a bust of the gray fox. There's a bookcase in the corner, and then a bookshelf with a shrine of Auri-el, one of the Mythic Dawn commentaries, a page from the Mysterium Xarxes, a couple of skulls, and some more cool static decor. And on the other side of the stairs, we find a suspicious cabinet with a false back panel. And when we enter, we find a hidden alchemy lab. You have another snowberry wreath, named storage for different ingredients, potion types, and you have some themed decoration with a note on the wall and a cauldron full of a questionable concoction. And then we find another room behind the tattered banner where there's a bookcase and a chair to read. There's soul gem storage for unfilled soul gems, storage for each size of filled soul gems. Then you have a uniquely decorated arcane enchanter. Look at the black book and the skull candle for decoration, how cool. You've got some more books and another one of those snowberry wreaths. We're really tying to the theme here. Now that we've seen the first of our secret areas and the rest of the main floor, it's time to head to the basement. The stairway can be found between the office and the suspicious cabinet. There's another snowberry wreath, and then when we take a right, we find a full smithing suite. Here's our tanning rack, storage for pelts. Here's your workbench, storage for ingots and bones. There's your grindstone, storage for ores. Here's a mini smelter in the corner, that looks really cool. You've got some torture tools right above your anvil, which works as your forge. And now that we've seen the full smithing suite, let's head to the next space. There's another one of those cool skull candles, another vase of pretty flowers, and now we found the guest bedroom. So you can use my home as your home to assign 2 followers to that double bed and another follower in this single bed. And now it's time to find our next secret area. Here's another false back panel, and inside we find a skull, shovel, some old books, and a forbidden shrine of Talos. No wonder it's a secret. And this sewer grate can be lifted, which will lead you to our next secret area, an ice cavern. As we head down the cavern, we find some mystical lighting. And then to the right, we find an icy cold door. Let's see where it leads. Oh wow, look at this space. You have more of those cool magical braziers that lead us into a frozen vampire lair, with everything the aspiring vampire would ever need. Here's a coffin, chests for storage, blood potion storage. Look at these statues with the blood rolling out of their mouths. How creepy. To the left of the coffin is another full smithing suite. Here's your tanning rack, your workbench, mini smelter, anvil, smithing storage, and a grindstone. And then as we head across the room, we find an ice throne. And right next to your ice throne is a bloodstone chalice. This can add some bonus effects to your vampire blood drain spell. And there's another alchemy lab and arcane enchanter with storage above. And here's one more look at all of the goodies inside of your secret vampire lair. The beauty of this space is since it's hidden so well, if you aren't a fan of the vampire space, you could completely ignore its existence. Or if you prefer this space over the house itself, this space has its own entrance and exit. Here's the exit, and then I'll show you where the entrance is. There's the entrance to the main home, there's the shed, and then when we turn back, look inside of this tree stump and you'll find the entrance to the vampire lair. And you might be thinking, oh, we've seen everything. What a cool home with lots of secrets. But there's still one more secret space to see. We need to head down the well by the waterfall to check out our last space, the hot spring. And when you enter, it's just a short walk down this tunnel before you find the hot spring, an oasis of warmth within the cold of East March Hold. Check out the dark elf lanterns, gleam blossoms, blackreach mushrooms. This place is looking really neat. You also have chairs for you and your followers to sit. And when you jump in, it doesn't auto-strip you. If you don't like the black water splash effect, I just need to change my EMB settings. That isn't from the mod. And there's a spot for some drinks. Overall, this is one of my favorite spots on the property. But now that we've seen all of the features of this home, it's time for final thoughts. Fimbulvetr Retreat is a rather unique home outside of Windhelm. It offers a double bed for you and your spouse, beds for 3 followers, an oven and cooking pot for your cooking needs, a grain mill and a small garden, a woodchopping block and woodcutter's axe, an animal pen with a cow, chicken, and harvestable eggs, a couple of stables for your horses, a waterfall view, a shrine to Nocturnal, a shrine to Auri-el, a shrine to Talos, a small armory, a full smithing suite, a secret alchemy nook, a secret arcane enchanter, a hidden hot spring, and a secret vampire lair with everything that the bloodsuckers of Skyrim would need. If you're looking for an intriguing home with lots of secrets, this home might be just what you're looking for. This concludes my feature of Fimbulvetr Retreat. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified of when I post. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode.